We're your co-hosts, Vicky and Laura, and this is the Resilient Entrepreneurs Podcast, the ultimate guide for ambitious business founders and startups. Hear from business heroes who faced unexpected challenges as we unpack how they slayed their dragon and reignite your instinct to conquer your dragon. In this highlights reel, you'll hear from the resilient entrepreneurs we've met this season, each with their own amazing story of overcoming tough to thriving. We hope this will reconnect you with your reason to keep going, your why. When something resonates, look up the full episode, bathe in their wisdom and experience. Episode 102, Elizabeth Ice. Hey, startup founder, what's your ROI on your time?
So I find that so interesting about humans is this entrepreneurial spirit. Even if people don't consider themselves that, people do pursue things with inventiveness every day. Even people that don't consider themselves entrepreneurs. And basically that's translated to me to Results Resourcing today, which is the company I founded. And what I want to do, my purpose is to empower the purpose of others. And so I see how I can, because of my experience as hiring freelancers and being successful at finding good ones and working with them collaboratively, that was a talent that I thought I could share with other entrepreneurs. And it was a way to scale a company without having to invest premature decisions about talent, first of all, and then not getting the right talent. And so I've kind of translated my interest in helping people's ideas expand with how do I help them do that by matching them with people that have skill sets that can contribute to that success.
Episode 106, Dr. Nikisha Hammond. Be your first priority and business will thrive.
Ideally, ask yourself at least weekly, but daily, something small that you can start with, because I understand what it means to burnt out. And I was definitely in a space of saying like, oh, I didn't have time and I was overwhelmed. And sometimes we think this self-care thing has to be this huge, elaborate thing we do. But something I always recommend for people to do daily is what I call take a minute. And in that minute, what you do is you make sure you have that time. You can even time yourself with your cell phone, 60 seconds. You have that time for yourself. So if that means taking deep breaths, which is a highly underrated thing to do, very, very beneficial physically and mentally, emotionally, and spiritually for you to do. But if it's just taking some deep breaths, if you believe in prayer and it's prayer, if you want to take a walk outside, I'm a big nature lover, like whatever it is for those 60 seconds a day, you start to retrain your brain to understand that you deserve to reset and recharge yourself, and you deserve to be emotionally healthy, and you deserve to have joy. Because some of us are struggling, understandably, there's a lot of different things that happen to us in our lives. Some of us are struggling with worthiness issues and self-love and self-forgiveness and all those sorts of things. But if you start with taking the 1 minute daily for yourself, you really will start to see positive changes in your life.
Episode 109, Colleen Slaughter. What you didn't know about being an entrepreneur.
I'm really grateful that I have a very solid network of really loving people that I can reach out to. So there are a lot of people in my network that have been through similar journeys or on similar journeys that I am. They came from really traumatic childhoods as well, that know the deal because they're living the same thing. And so they're able to be there for me. There are moments I can be there for them, right? And so there's a solidity there. I also work with coaches that help me with my own mindset, give me a mirror and say, okay, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over, right? Expecting different results. So I can stay insane by having stinking thinking that I know doesn't work for me. Or I can, most of the time, authenticity is a really big thing with me, right? And so Pollyanna stuff like, everything's wonderful, has never worked. I've always needed just straight shot, exactly what's true.
Episode 111, Donna Amelia. How to build your dream business.
I always love to give back to people. I love to serve people. So in my current career as the co-founder of Executive Global Network in Singapore, Indonesia, Malaysia, we do knowledge sharing for senior executive, because the idea behind it is that sometimes the leaders are lonely at the top. Sometimes they are just lonely. However, they really need someone to talk to discuss about their challenges. That a lot of leaders might struggle with the vulnerability. It is because the stigma of don't want to seem weak or like incapable of doing things. I mean, you are human at the end of the day, and it's amazing to see how much help actually leaders also willing to help. Only if you willing to open, and that's sometimes something that is the hardest part, is to start to be able to be vulnerable and able to say that I need help. And it's amazing how much people actually want to help.
Episode 113, Pam Buchanan. What I learned working alongside Elon Musk.
You really have to have an internal barometer for yourself, first and foremost. Nobody can do the job for you, right? And no one can constantly be there for you. So it is a daily, minute by minute, hour by hour, almost self-talk. I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, whatever is presented to me. But I was very blessed to have managers that believed in me. So I think too, I was never given a chance to say no. I do think, given those opportunities to speak in large groups all the time, and those people believing in me, was huge for me to present myself or the story, or say, you have the knowledge to communicate that to this group.
Episode 115, Tanya Alvarez. What is accountability for entrepreneurs?
I've had so many mentors. Like my family has just been the mentor that you always need people that, and that's really important in your group. You always need people to remind you of who you are, because when you're in it, you're spiraling. That's just the truth. And anyone who says they're not spiraling, that's BS. Like when you come through some challenges or you have to make tough things, like you're second guessing yourself or you forget all the things you do. So one recommendation I have for everybody is I have on my notes section in my phone, it's called I'm Possible, which was impossible. So things that you thought that you could never achieve, how did you feel? And then when you accomplished it, what lessons did you learn? And so when I'm going through something, I always look at that and I'm like, oh, I was able to do this. I thought it was impossible. Like, I can do this. I can do this. So it's almost my little reminder of who I am. And then other people reminding me, because it's so easy to forget, right? It's kind of like giving birth, right? We all forget. It's like, oh, and we do it again. So you have to be reminded, like, yeah, you went through that.
Episode 118, Marcela Andres. Inner battle or business breakthrough?
Instrumental to surround yourself with people who believe in you, who are going to tell you it's possible. And I've come to realize that I have been building my dream in community all along. And I think that's where it's at, and not to say that I haven't had people who have said, wait a minute, take a pause, or have been there. But for the most part, the people in my life have really surrounded me and have loved me and have championed me. And so to, individuals who are listening right now, after you've taken care of yourself and you interrogate your being and you're like, what do I want to do? What do I dream of? What brings me joy? Then find people that you can run with that are going to make you faster. And just by running with different people, that are going at a different speed, you're just going to automatically go at a different speed.
Episode 124, Patty Johnson. Thrive when business changes.
You're going to have setbacks. You're going to have to learn your way through it, and I also think it's interesting.
Proud of it.
Yeah. What you said, Vicki, in my world, I've done a lot on leading change. How do you make changes happen in organizations and leaders and so on? And in the work I've done with my clients and the research I've done, there's been one consistent mantra that people who can lead change, this resilience mindset of is, I can figure it out again and again and again. Even people who started businesses with nothing. Like one of the people I featured in my book is Alan Stevenson, who started Southern Tide. It's a successful clothing and now home goods, really successful business, was recently acquired, expanded. You talked to him when he started, he dropped out of med school. He didn't know a single thing about making, he started with shirts. He didn't know how to produce shirts. He had never, didn't know anything about running a business, didn't know anything about production, nothing. And he was baby steps through it. But from the beginning, I'm like, well, were you afraid? Da, 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 da. How do you, he's like, more than anything, I just felt like I could figure it out, or I could find the people who could help me figure it out. And I could give you dozens and dozens of examples, but that belief of I can figure it out is super important, I think, with entrepreneurs. If you're going to start your own business, you have to have that. It's also some confidence. I don't know everything I need to know today, but I can figure it out. Consistent on people who started businesses, in my experience.
Episode 126, Melissa Broughton, the 4-Hour Bookkeeper, Finances Made Easy.
We don't know what we don't know, and where do we look for knowledge? And the internet is an amazing resource. We have all of this information like right at the tips of our fingers. So you could even type in something, or you could use the chat GPT. The AI is kind of the new go-to, but what do I need to know to start a business? What do I need to know to start a business in whatever city you're located in? Or give me a checklist. Checklists are really easy. They're really digestible. That would probably be the first place I would tell somebody to look, especially if it's there's a lot of information that comes at you when you're starting a business, right? So rather than getting overloaded by information, if you've got all of these articles and they were things that you're like, wow, I read 2 sentences, it's already over my head, and then you don't go back for more, start with asking for a checklist, or even saying something like, what are the 10 things I need to know to start a business in Brisbane, Australia, or whatever it is. And it's going to come up with a list of things that you can then dig a little bit deeper onto the things that you need to know more about.
Episode 130, Annalisa Gooden, the rawness of being an entrepreneur.
So I think part of it is personality. I'm outgoing. I love being around people. Like I said, that was the thing that kind of took me out of the studio, was just wanting to be around other people. But I think that sort of skill set I developed in hospitality lent itself to being strategic with my extroversion. I was extroverted, but also strategic. I could kind of if I wanted the coffee date to end in a certain way, I would be pretty damn sure I was going to make sure it ended in that way, based on the clues they were giving me, based on the body language, based on all that things. So it was very opportunistic in that outgoingness. So I think that's a developable skill. And I think for anybody who feels like, oh, I'm not so extroverted, get out there. It's going to be a requirement for so many aspects of the job that's coming up for you when your company actually launches and you're in the fortunate position of building something. You're going to need to leverage that. So go for it. Just go for it.
Episode 134, Suzanne Mariga, Smart Money for Entrepreneurs.
I think one of my strengths from being a minority was, really what allowed me to be successful was I had nothing to lose. When I started my business, I had $500 that I invested into my business. I think $200 was actually borrowed from my best friend to buy a printer. and I had nothing to lose other than let's just best our best every single day. Why not do what I love? Why not create impact and value for my clients? And let's see where the world takes you. Because I think it's easy as a minority to sometimes get stuck with the noise in our head. When you watch the news and they tell you that everyone's going to discriminate against you when you walk into a room, people are going to treat you terribly, right? And I think at some point that if you allow it, it can get into your head. You can even go into a room and fail before you even take a step into the room because you've got so much going on in your mind. And the reality is you just have to go for each experience and just give your best and let the cards go where they fall. And you might find that you actually get more than you ever thought you would.
Episode 138, Sherry Lynn Lilly, Invisible Strength, Visible Impact.
I have mentors that play different roles. Some mentors are specifically for business. Some of them are a combination of business and personal. And then I have a couple of two best friends that are just there to do the hey girl, get it together type of thing. So mentorship, I think, is also imperative to my overall well-being.
Episode 142, Kim Rohn, Balance for Business Success.
And what had happened, ladies, is I started sharing her story. And so when somebody was struggling, I would say, listen, I know this is going to sound so lame, and I didn't believe it for 50 years either. Like, imagine what I would be if I actually did something like this, 25 years ago. I said, this is where we're going to start. We're going to start here. And so little by little, unsolicited, people would send me their journal entries, the pictures of them after sharing Cindy's story. And then somebody one day said, Kim, you should publish that in a journal. I'm like, that ain't my business plan. What are we talking about here? But I did also decide I would slow down and listen. Like when we think about listening, who is our ideal client and what should we be doing and all of these things. And lucky for me, my sister is also a publisher. So I did end up publishing my own journal with my own journal prompts based on research on what we can do at the start of our day or the end of our day to work with our brain so that it can help guide us through those challenges as we're starting our own business so that we can fully go into our business in our souls, in our soul, in ourselves, believing in ourselves, because it does start there. It's like making the calls, Laura, you said, like it's not easy. I mean, it's not all roses over here. That could be a whole nother conversation about the real ugly behind the scenes, but that's what I have people do. And so I give them these entries. They don't even have to buy my journal. I give them the free download. I'm like, go do this. Let's try it and let's test it. If you do not feel different in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever we set as a goal, you tell me, but let's go test it. Let's go see if it works. And so that's normally where we will start. And then we'll kind of peel back the onion from there.